right, it's my pleasure to now have on Senior Bowl bound, the All Conference USA player, Jordan Smith. Jordan, how are you doing tonight, man? So you told me before we jumped on that you're out in California now. So tell me, your season, your college career now has ended. What are you doing now as you get ready for the Senior Bowl and everything else that's going to be thrown your way?
Right now I'm just out here grinding, getting in the weight room, working on my speed, working on my getting stronger, trying to perfect my craft a little bit before the Senior Bowl.
Now, I watched your highlight film, right? 6'7", listed at 255. How much do you really weigh? What was that?
250.
250? Because, man, I got to tell you, when I was watching that, like, you look skinny out there. You are a slender 250. So, I mean, were coaches on your back about hitting the weight room harder and putting more weight? I mean, 250 is big, but you just carry it so well. You look lean.
Yeah, I mean that's what most people tell me. I would tell me like, bro, you look 220. Then we step on 51, 252, and they're like, bro, you don't even look 250. I'm like, yeah, all right. But I mean, yeah, they said it's definitely, it was like, get stronger, make sure I can pass the eye test, get real, how they like it, get meaty, get beefy, So just make it look like I'm, putting myself in a better body stand form instead of like, transferring from college to the pros.
Yeah, and after I watched your tape, I brought up Alden Smith because I was thinking of other guys that were long like that. But man, you got like 3 inches on him too. So I don't even know what's a good comp. I mean, who do you watch film on, in the NFL or guys from before to try to model your game after?
I mean, I just watch all type of dudes. Like I just have a category for the dudes that I watch, like dudes who are just men amongst boys. So I watch like, the Aaron Donalds, the JJ Watts, the guys who just dominate guys, and then I like this past year I was watching a lot of Chase Young, because he's just bullying guys, just dudes like that, Marcus Sweat on the same D line. Like they're just dudes like that. That's what I try to model my game after.
Oh yeah, guys are monsters, like you said, monsters among men. I was actually reading an article where it's Coach Gentry was talking about, your bendability, that you're a flexible guy, and I mean you can see that when you play. I mean, when you have a strength like that in your game, where you can do things that other guys can't at that size. I mean, how do you work on just perfecting something that's really unique to you?
By doing it, practicing it harder than it is in the game. So like when me and Coach Gentry used to practice and we used to work bending drills, like we used to just make it like impossibly low. Like it wasn't even no reason how I should be bending under this, and we just be running full speed under it, just getting reps under. So when it's in the game, it's like, oh, this dude's not shooting his hands that low. So let me just dip under it. Bend, that's what he was always emphasizing: bend your knees and bend the edge.
Yeah. So, how just when you think about, I was going to say this year, but thank God we're on a new year now. But when you think about 2020, man, you came off of a really good year. I mean, you got on everyone's radar. How frustrating was it for you to try to gear up to take that next step in your game? And I'm sure you have all these big things, and you did do it, but to do it with COVID. And I'm sure that for most of the first half of the year, you probably didn't even know if you were going to be playing football because no one knew what was going on. How did you just stay focused with all the craziness that had happened this year?
I mean, ever since January, when at UAB, when we told us ourselves that we wanted to win the championship, the conference championship, I mean, even when COVID came upon, like we didn't stop, like of course we couldn't like practice and, but we were all still like getting it on our own. We were, getting indies, still grinding, even with COVID. And then like we just never lost hope. Like it was never a time at UAB that we thought we weren't gonna play. Like because they was telling us, he was like, if Alabama plays, and we're playing. So and then the SEC, because the SEC actually started late. So we were never had a mindset that we weren't gonna play this season. He was like, we're gonna play somebody. We're gonna play anybody.
Yeah, I love that. That's the only way to do it. Um,
Yeah.
So, and you guys grind out, a really good year, considering that like the Big Ten was playing, 6 games each. I mean, the fact that you guys were able to, get in 9, really speaks to the fact that you guys were able to grind it out. But the way it ended, when you guys should have been in a bowl game, I mean, how did you guys find out that, hey, the other team can't make it, and oh, by the way, there's no replacement? Like that just is the worst way to end a college career.
I mean, I wouldn't say it was the worst way. I feel like it was kind of. I mean, I feel like if somebody would have wrote this year of UAB in a book, it would sell, because like it was. We started off good, and then we had a lot. Came back and won a conference game. Lost again against Lafayette, Louisiana Lafayette, and then lost again uh, LA Tech. So we lost three games, and 2 of them were conference. And then our next 4 conference games end up getting canceled. And then at the end, we get up scheduling Rice, who the week prior to that blew Marshall's perfect season. And then we beat Rice, and then we go to the conference championship and beat Marshall at home. It was a crazy year, but I mean, you couldn't write that out. Crazy. I mean, we were hoping for a bowl game. We were looking forward to it, but I mean, at the to do what we wanted to do, so we were happy with the results.
Yeah, yeah, and I definitely shouldn't have said it was the worst way to end a year, because you're right. There's certainly worse ways, but that being said, the NCAA had a lot of guys at extra year of eligibility. How hard was it for you to think through, like, do I come back for another year, or is it now the time to go?
I mean, it took a lot of thinking, a lot of talking, a lot of, you know, debating. And I mean, I had a lot of talk about leaving last year, and I didn't leave last year. And I felt like if I did that, I would have been, missing out on a milestone that I wanted to accomplish in my life. So I decided to stay another year last year and get my degree. So when it came out to like all of the rounds, like, I got my degree. I think I got enough talent, enough film, enough people looking at me. So I think this might be the time. And then I said COVID, everybody else is at their lowest. I'm kind of at my high right now. So I'm like, yeah, I think it's the perfect time.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, 2 years of film. Coming out of back from JUCO. I mean, there's enough there to project, hey, this guy can play or not play. And I think everyone knows, you don't make it to the Senior Bowl if you can't play. So, I just wanted to take a couple steps back, because, like I just said, right, you came from JUCO, but before that, you were at Florida. So, man, you kind of went through a little bit of a roller coaster to get here. Can you just bring me back a couple years to, you're a 4-star recruit coming out of Georgia. How ultimately do you even get to Florida and start this crazy journey?
Uh, Going to Florida was a strictly business decision. I had a lot of good people in my corner that was telling me, not to fall into the hype and the this and the that. He was like, go to somewhere where, like, they got good coaches, winning program, great defense. And then, Florida just won out at the end of the day. Got there, got into a little trouble, so I decided to start over, go to Butler, because we had a new coach at the time. And I didn't want to. That was the first thing that he would have thought of me, because that had just happened. He just got a job, so I was like, let me just go somewhere else, start fresh. Spend a year at Butler. I got second team all conference my year there. That was kind of some. I should have won. I should have got first team, but I got second team. End up getting I think 12 offers out of JUCO. Not as near as much as out of high school, but that was expected. But UAB was just the best choice. I mean, like I said, I don't like losing, so out of all the teams I had, not a lot of them were winning programs. So, and UAB was probably the most winners program, and having Coach Gentry as my position coach, I mean, that just set it over the top. So going to UAB was kind of a no-brainer.
Now, did you have to like sell yourself to Coach Clark and Coach Gentry? Were they like, hey, man, we're about to take a leap of faith on you. How certain can we be that this is going to work out? Or am I overhyping this? Was it never one of those sit down moments?
Yeah, definitely. I had two former teammates from Butler go to UAB who actually like, put the word in for me. It was funny because like at first they was like, bro, come on, bro. Like you don't need you. I'm like, bro, like I need any looks I can get, bro. Like I'm looking for opportunity right now. Like I'm not in high school. These not the same offers. Like I need anything. And they, put me on UAB. They end up looking at me, like me. They offered me when I went down to the official. He was like, look, he's like, we don't care about your past, but we want to know, like, are you going to be your best person when you step foot at UAB? And I told him yes. I was like, if you give me the opportunity to come to UAB, I will be the best person that I possibly can. I will mature myself to the best person I could be at UAB. And that was it. He took my word for it. He shook my hand. He was like, let's do it. And that was it. We did it.
So I don't want to like focus too much on this, but not many people go through what you did. So can you just talk about the mindset, right? Of like, stuff happens, you get in trouble, you made a mistake. How do you change the way you think about things and what you're doing in order to say, you know what, that's never happening again. I'm going to prove myself. I'm going to rebuild. I'm not going to make another mistake. How did you change how you approached, your craft as a football player, but also just becoming an adult and really kind of owning who you want to be?
Yeah, I just had to, just look in the mirror. I had after that situation, I had football taken from me because I didn't, I was supposed to play that year. My redshirt freshman year at Florida, I didn't get to play, and that was probably, one of the biggest upsets. I had really, hurt my mom through all that stuff. Through all the trauma, whatever, all the stuff that happened. So that and getting football taken away from me. I mean, those are two feelings that I wouldn't wish on anybody. So I mean, that's those two thoughts alone. I just keep in my mind every day. So just know that, and throughout the situation, I learned, like, it's not just me. When I do stuff, it doesn't just affect me, it affects more people. So I don't like hurting people, so I'm gonna do the right thing so I can, keep everybody else cool too.
Yeah, for sure. So one thing throughout this, whether it's that, whether it's getting ready for the Senior Bowl, whether it's about deciding to go pro or come back for another year, were there any guys that were former teammates or guys in the NFL that you reached out to talk to and try to get some advice on how they would go through this?
Yeah, I reached out to a couple of former Gator teammates, that play in the NFL. I reached out to Jared Davis. I reached out to Caleb Brantley, a couple guys like that, and I was just asking them, like, about their. I really was just asking them about their, process and how they went about it, so I can just get deep. I didn't really ask them much about, what I should do on my process. I just wanted a story, so how somebody else went through it.
Yeah.
And after that, it was, I didn't really need, too much guidance after that. Jared Davis is a great guy. He gave me a lot of good advice. Caleb Brantley did also. So I mean, that right there, after talking to those two, I was pretty much good. I didn't really have much stress. Like, they told me, like, don't stress about it. Like, it's not like going to college. Like, you're the boss now, so you make your decisions. So I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. So, just taking some advice like that. And, it wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard of a decision after, putting all the pieces on the table and just going through my pros and cons.
Sure, sure. Now, I'm sure it was a harder decision to figure out, what agency you want to align yourself with now that you are the CEO of your life. So obviously now we know athletes first is who you're going to be with. So what was that like? Just sort of evaluating now, like who's going to help you in this next phase?
I mean, that was probably the easiest about that was probably the easiest decision about the whole thing. Like, it was real hard to decide about coming out, but like when people started like talking to me and stuff, when I started, I was like, yeah, yeah, athlete. I was thinking athletes first the whole time, like, because it's just a different culture out here. It's not like everybody's like, okay, I'm gonna sign you. I'm gonna send you to EXO, so you go here, you can go to Michael J. Like, we have our own facility where we live. Like, we live here, and this facility is literally on the roof. And everybody who works there is athletes first. There's no exos people. Everybody there is with us. So can't really beat it.
Yeah. I mean, certainly sounds it, right? How do you up the bar from there?
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. Well, obviously, I wish you the best. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in the Senior Bowl. Did you get any sort of insights from guys on what it's going to be like, or are you just going to kind of walk in and just figure it out on the fly?
We're gonna start that this week. We really didn't get into it too much because of the new year, but we're just gonna start like first week in January.
Awesome. Well, like I said, I can't wait to watch it. But man, but before I let you out of here, I can't let you off the hook unless I ask you to go through the gauntlet. I got a couple quick hitter questions that I need your knee jerk answer on.
Okay.
What's most important? Is it having the number one offense or the number one defense?
Number one defense.
Now, when you run your 40 time at the NFL Combine, which I know you're going to get to, even if you haven't been formally invited yet or anything, what's the 40 time going to be?
I want to. I
Is
want to
that a
keep.
pass?
I want to keep that anonymous. I heard. I'll just say that I seen some reports out that I'm predicted to run like a 4.7.
All right. Now, do you have a pregame ritual that you stick to?
Yeah, but it changes like every year. Every year with like a different team. Like I've had the same ritual for 2 years with UAB. Like when I was at Butler, I had a different one. So it changes. But this past year, I listened to music for a little bit, and then I just go outside, walk around the field, get like a little jog, some high knees, stretch my legs a little bit, listen to music. Probably go back in, call one of my other teammates out, hey man, let's throw the ball, throw the ball a little bit, get my receiver pictures for the pregame. And then then just lock in from there, go back in, get my pads on, and then we're out for stretching the pregame with the position coach.
All right. So you like to have a routine, but it doesn't need to be the same routine. Changes a
Yeah,
little bit. Got it. Now, man, what's most important? Is it the players or is it the scheme?
just the players.
All right. Now,
Yes.
man, you've gone through a lot. So, what's the best piece of advice? This is the last question. Best piece of advice that you would give to a 17, 18-year-old kid that looks at you and wants to get to playing in the Senior Bowl, looking the NFL in the near future?
Never get too prideful, man. Always, keep the people in your corner in your corner. You know what I'm saying? Always, if you need something, ask the people in your corner. Never get too, I'm grown, I gotta pay my own bill. I got, just all if you need it, ask, never be too prideful. That's the only thing I can say. And stay humble.
There you have it. Jordan Smith, for the last time, a UAB football player at all conference, Reese's Bowl bound NFL athlete, man. Best of luck going through the whole process. Can't wait to see, where you'll be this time next year. I'm sure it's going to feel a little different.
For sure.